Hi, today is Saturday, August 8th, and what I'm going to be doing this afternoon is a little bit of cooking. On weekends is typically the time that I have to be able to do cooking in our accessible kitchen, which I love. So what I'm going to do for you is a recipe which had the ingredients for, but I haven't made lately. It is a creamy feta dip with jalapeños, and I'll post the recipe. The ingredients are going to sound a little weird, but it's highly addictive once you try it. I learned the recipe from a friend of mine named Hannah, and I looked it up from a website, How Sweet Eats. And like I said, I'll give you the link. It's kind of cool because this was a woman who was is a blogger, and over the course of, following her blog, she actually published a recipe book. So it comes from the woman who created Seriously Delish, Jessica Merchant, and again, I'll provide her information. So, the basis for this dip is feta cheese. Now, I do a smaller batch just because she, I think has enough to feed probably 12 to 14 people. And I like this recipe when my husband does it, so if I were to eat that much, I'd probably not be doing so well. So I make a smaller batch. I also buy the cheese pre-crumbled rather than crumbling it myself. She suggests buying it as a brick. But I kind of try to take little corners where I can to make things easier. So there's the cheese. Next is the jalapeno peppers. Now, again, in her recipe, she suggests roasting jalapenos yourself. I tried that the first time, roasting jalapenos, and it didn't go so well. I kind of ended up burning them, which I know you're supposed to char them a little bit, but again, I found it kind of complicated, and I don't know. When I found these in the grocery store, diced, pickled, well, they are pickled, but diced tamed jalapeno peppers, I was like, there you go. You get the same spice, the same flavor, with not as much hassle. So, depending on how much spice you like, go ahead and put some of that in. I normally do, you have to think of the ratio of cheese to jalapeno. So I normally do, 1.5 to 2 tablespoons, because I like it with a little bit of kick. Hello, Alton. Yeah, no, you can't have any jalapenos, little guy. Sorry. Next is the roasted garlic. Now, what I do is you just take, I take cloves of garlic, stick it in a little ramekin, coat it with some olive oil, and just stick it in the oven. It's really simple. That is really, so simple. You shouldn't have any problem with that. And then you just squeeze it right out of its casing. And oh my god, it smells so good. If you like garlic, yum, yum. And again, you just kind of eyeball this, your ratio of cheese to pepper to garlic. You do want to let the garlic cool before handling it. I think that looks about, let me do one more. I think that looks about right. Lemon. It requires the zest of a lemon and some lemon juice. And let me just tell you, when you're zesting, a little bit goes a long way. So I could have, left the onion whole to zest, but since you don't need that much, it doesn't matter. One time I made this and I over lemoned, and it really changed how the dish tastes. So let me just, but it is really the lemon that gives this dip the zing. It's like that little added extra. Got a little bit more zest, okay. And then a little bit of fresh black pepper. And she calls for salt in the recipe too, but since the feta is already pretty salty, I just do barely a hint. Because I try to eat a lower sodium diet anyway. And then lastly is an emulsifier is extra virgin olive oil. And again, you just kind of eyeball it. You want it a little bit pasty, but not, you know, runny or too goopy. So then I just take my fork, start smushing it together. Sometimes you need to take the fork and kind of cut up the garlic cloves a little bit. And also the feta, even when you buy it crumpled or crumbled, it can kind of clump together. So you just really want to get in there and, you know, get the feta to spread. And that's it. Super simple. I like it best with these pita chips. I think they have the strength to stand up to the dip because you don't want the chip to break.